Okay, here we go. This is my health tracking software. It's called HealthData, and there's a folder or a series of folders under HealthData on the C drive that this runs on. First of all, we've got an area where I can write in the systolic, diastolic heart rate, my blood pressure, basically, and my weight and height. And this will come up with the previous numbers more or less. I think these are blank, but the weight and height will have some numbers that, usually stay pretty much the same from day to day. And it'll calculate your BMI for you. Right now, you can see from the tooltip text, or maybe you can't see, the video's not going to be very good. I'm just recording this off my phone, pointing at my screen. Anyway, I'm in the optimal weight range, 140 to 179, and you can see I'm a little bit on the high side of that. I think this is called a progress bar. And right here we have the blood pressure. If, after I enter in that data, I hit Control S or click here, it'll save it. So here's basically, we'll just scroll through this real quick, my historical data on my blood pressure, my systolic and diastolic, going back to December 2019. As you can see, I'm pretty much staying consistent. It's always kind of surprising to me, the range. And this comes up when I right click on the chart here. It'll give me the high and low for that month, or the 30 days of entry, tell you what the range is for each. So a 25-point range on my systolic. I check my blood pressure right away in the morning after I get up and pee and lay in bed for, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes, half hour, whatever. So I'm pretty consistent. Maybe this is normal, maybe it isn't. I don't really know. I'm not concerned about it because I haven't had any events. Here's a next line chart. And this is just something called vascular health, I call it. So 100% would be if you're 120 over 80 with 60 beats per minute. And this is just derived. And I did this because what I have found is if I'm on the high range of my systolic, then my heart rate tends to be lower. And I thought that might take some of this out. Anyway, the bottom line is my actual resting heart rate. And here's some more derived line charts, mean arterial pressure and pulse pressure. I'm sure the doctors know what that is and how important it is. I do intend to bring this to my next physical. And here's my weight. We'll scroll through this too. Basically, way back in December 2019, I was up to 197. Whereas today, I'm down to 166. Now, if you scroll through here, you'll see this spike here. And this is where my hard drive crashed. And I had waited some time before I had backed up the data. And I completely lost the software that runs it. And I did not get it back with something rewritten, and that with the lost data that I didn't have backed up, it was over a year. And in that time, as you can see, my weight jumped up. Well, let's see, from 158 up to 162. Whoops, 177 to 158. Looked at the wrong thing here. There's a displayed average here for it's 162 for what's the average for what's displayed. And that's true for these other charts too. You have blood pressure average 121.9 over 74.3 for this month. This little blank spot here is kind of an annoying little thing. If I hit this refresh button, it just runs the same code, and I don't know why it misses that. But there's nothing I can do to fix it. And the last line chart is this VO2 max, which I need to do more of. There's a number of reasons why I don't do it, mostly because of climate. And the only place to run is down the gravel road, which isn't all that flat. It's flat enough to do it, but it's hot in the summer and the bugs are insane up here. And in the winter, the roads are icy, and then it's muddy when it rains. And plus, I don't really have much fun doing it. Basically, you run for 12 minutes and then you plug in how many miles you did. So if I look here, this is the only time I actually did a mile. Oh, I guess I'm wrong. What is this? Oh, apparently I don't have any of them in here. There's only a few entries anyway. So I did 0.6 miles in 6 minutes and 56 seconds. So I only did half. And my VO2 max was a little over half, 26.06. If I look up the chart here, and I'm just barely over, well, I guess I'm in the fair range. But I didn't do the whole 12 minutes either. I'm sure if I did the whole 12 minutes, I would be maybe in the poor range or close to it anyway. So I think that's pretty much it for this. Let's send this back home again. Okay, back to today anyway. Daily nutrition. We've got categories here, which is written into the software. You don't get to change those or add to them or subtract from them. But for each category, you can add and subtract here. And you'll figure out how to do that. There are tooltip texts on a lot of these controls. You can see where it says how to edit and delete and remove. And I'll click on Mountain Dew, 1 ounce Mountain Dew. Here's the numbers, and you can put these numbers in right off the bottle and then divide it by the number of ounces. And then you'll get it down to 1 ounce. There's kind of a goofy way of doing that, but you'll have to figure that out. It has to do with this move totals to grid. So basically, if you enter this line here, then put the numbers in off the grid, and let's say you had a 12-ounce can, and you just take whatever the calories is for 12 ounces is, I don't know, let's say it's 250 calories, and you divide it by 12, or you take 12 and divide it by 200, you'll figure it out. So anyway, over here, we're on the day's data. So everything starts at 0, but for some it's green and for some it's red. For red, it's the good nutrients, and you want to move up to green. And for the green ones are the bad nutrients, like added sugar, saturated fat, cholesterol, trans fat. And the more of that you add in your daily diet, the redder it'll become. And here's a line here that shows you basically how the color scheme translates. So right here is nominal, or where you want to be. So some things will start off at red, and then you'll get up to where it's green, but having too much of it might be bad, and it'll turn back into red. Not necessarily so. It's different for each one, and you'll find that. And you'll have little hints as you get these tool texts over each item. A lot of times I have it set at 83% for being right in the middle, and that would be like the average person, whereas the RDA is set for, so 97.5% of the people get enough of that nutrient, which means that 97.5% of the people are getting too much of that nutrient. So nothing is written in stone. This is just something to help you. So we'll go back to today. And right here, you can see I still haven't had dinner yet, which I'm planning on having bean soup, homemade bean soup. And I'll just add that right now. Go under meals and my bean soup, and I'll add it to the list. And of course, there's all sorts of other meals here. And as you can see, my potassium came back into the green. My calories is in the green. Total sugars, I'm in the yellow at 100%. But a lot of that is from fruit in my cold soak oatmeal and added sugars, so on, so on, so on. Another way you can add that, well, here's how you can remove the thing, is there's a little toggle thing here. This is my recipe for bean soup, but I want to show you this. If I click on cold soak oatmeal, I can add this to the list here, or I can right click on it and it'll add it to the daily food list. And there's 2,000 calories per day, or 2373. Where this 2373 is coming from is if I go under BER, basic energy requirement, or BMI, body mass index. This here, you just punch in your birthday on this calendar. The weight comes from where it was punched in on the first screen, and height, same thing. I'm a male, so I got male. Click there, and I say that I'm active. When I'm doing my workouts, every day I go to very active. But for now, I'm kind of slacking on that. It's the middle of winter, but I'm about to start up again. And then male or female. Here's something I should point out here. One of the things about iron, like right now I'm at 313.4% for the day, which is insane. I actually bought iron supplements because I gave blood, and they told me I should take some after giving blood. But I don't think I even need that with my diet. I'm getting massive amounts. But if I'm a female and I'm a younger female, whoops, that went a little too fast. I'll put her somewhere in there. You can see that changed her down to 131%. So it's a big difference between a woman between 18 and 50 and a man or a woman over 50. I don't have anything set for doing this for kids under 18. I'm sure they wouldn't have any interest in doing that either. So I better change this back to me before I forget who I am. The age didn't change. I should probably fix that so it does it right away. But if I go back now, it's 64.7. I'm almost 65. So that's where this number comes from, where the percentage calorie base is. Average over dates. That's where these two calendars come in. And you can see the average. I have it set for what's happening this year. If I want to go all the way back to where I first started adding this, I could go back to here, and here's some different numbers between today and back in the middle of July. But I've adjusted my diet some, so I'm looking at it from January. What I need to do is I should cut back on my added sugars. Total sugars I don't care that much about, as long as it's coming from fruit, but the added sugars is part of that total sugars. Total fat I'm low on. I have just bought some avocado oil that I'm going to start adding to my meals. Saturated fat, I don't eat land-based meat, I guess you'd call it. In fact, very little of it. I do put some bacon bits when I add macaroni and cheese, but other than that, none. So the saturated fat is coming along when I'm eating good fats. So I'm not even going to worry about that. But if you're a meat eater, that's probably going to be pretty high. And I have massive amounts of fiber, which is good for me, I suppose. I think there's a point where it gets bad. And vitamin D. I cut back on how much I've been taking, and now I'm stepping it back up again. So that will come back. So you can see how this helps me to be healthy and happy, I suppose. Let's see, I showed you the weekly menu. Did I show you that? Each month has a different weekly menu, and I did that because my winter menu is different from my summer menu. I won't get into why that is, but it is. But each month has a different menu, and this is just the week's worth of food, which I adjust, what these numbers are telling me. And you have to be a little bit anal about plugging in all this data. So I'm sure this is not for everyone, and not everyone will probably last doing it. I'm going to go back to the main, and we will look at the exercise timer. And right, it always boots up to stretches and cardio. And here's my list of stretches and cardio. And here again, you can change that list. You've got the little tooltip text again, showing you how to do that. And each one of these has got different numbers here. So a transition from the last exercise to the next one gives you some seconds. And then you've got the number of seconds that you're going to do this particular exercise. If you hit, as soon as you hit start, it'll count down the seconds for your transition, getting in position to do your next exercise. And then it'll give you one beep for the duration. And then when it counts up to 20, it'll give you 2 beeps and then start the transition for the next one. You also got this loop button here, and that will just loop through all of these exercises and then start back again, and it will count it up. And that's pretty much all that is. Over here we have medical records, and this is just a folder where I keep my medical history about myself, a bunch of notes here that's in this notepad file. and other files. Now you can see this is in the health data folder on the C drive. And the code you won't get, but it'll make these other folders for you. And this file it'll make for you. And here is the executable file. This shouldn't be in here, and these notes shouldn't be in here. Oh, wait a minute. I think these notes are something that gets written. That would be these notes right here, and you can edit that. However, these notes are static. These are written into code. You can't change them. It's a bunch of information about how I came up with this software. And I see a misspelling there. So obviously it doesn't have spell check. I'll have to fix that. I think that's just about it. I hope the video comes out halfway decent and you were able to follow along. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this is an old software program, Visual Basic 6.0. I mean, it's so old it doesn't even have internet capability. Well, maybe it does, but not as far as I know, and I've been using it for a long time. There might be something you can import. But it's a Windows-based program, and it uses tools from Windows itself. So it would be more than just sending the executable file. It might work if I do. You could try it, but I can also make an installation folder where it will install or try to install the necessary files into Windows. Whether or not the modern Windows will be happy about doing that. And this isn't exactly written on a Windows from 25 years ago. So we've got different versions of these files, and the setup may have trouble knowing what to do if put in the old one, which you probably shouldn't do, or put in the new one. But I don't think anything bad will happen. It'll know what not to do. But the setup program may not work. So the best I could do is snail mail a USB drive with a README file, and somebody can put it up on the internet somehow. I'll probably put a message on this that says it's free so nobody tries to sell it. These are just dates here. There's a folder where all these files are, and they're year, month, day, 8-digit number. And I did it that way to keep them in order. If you go month, day, year, then they're not in numerical order or a timeline order. So that way, my thinking is I can go into that folder and I can like delete, files from years ago because they don't mean anything anymore. I hope you got some out of this. I can't really come up with anything I can think of right offhand. Did I do this averages over dates? Yeah, I think I did. Down here it does say, like, over the last 62 days, I didn't miss any. But if I go back to July, we'll go to August. You'll see it's 202 out of 215 days that I logged in. And I will have days where I have this unchecked and I won't apply that day to the averages. And that will be days where I got sidetracked or I went into town and I decided to have a lunch at McDonald's or something. And although I think I could get that data off the internet, the RDA stuff you can't get off the internet, I found. Let's wrap this up. Thanks for listening. I hope has been helpful. Oh, I think something else. I'm going to put something up here real quick. There, you should be able to see that. That is my email address. Just put something in the email so I know it's not junk, just like health data program you wrote or something. Okay, see ya.